जय जिनेन्द्र सर।
जय जिनेन्द्र। अरिहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व, अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है।
कैसे बताएं?
तीन को स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति, काय को नमाए स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम से काज सब आज भयो, कर जोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते, हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। So yesterday we were discussing about the Kulkars, and that's where we ended, and today we are going to start from there only. Let me make you a co-host. Soumya, you have received the books? Malti ji has received. Soumya is there?
Soumya ji has not joined yet.
Okay, fine. So I made you a co-host. Then we will straightway look into that chart where there are names mentioned of 14 Kulkars and what is the role of each Kulkar. You know, the post of Kulkar was created because we were in that transition period. The Bhog Bhumi, enjoyment realm, has ended and Karm Bhumi is going to start. We are in that interval period, okay? So Bhog Bhumi is about to end. The Kalpa Vruksh are fading up. They are losing their power. And earlier the people were not worried to earn or get food because there was this Kalpa Vruksh. They go and ask for food and they used to get the food. Yesterday we saw that 10 types of Kalpa Vruksh, each giving each Kalpavruks giving different types of products, you know, some giving clothes, some giving food, some giving this, that. Like it's just like going to a buffet party where all the counters are there and whatever you read, you go to that counter and you get it. So that was the arrangement. But now with Kalpavruks fading, people were worried. And to solve their worries, these 14 Kulkars got birth. Okay. So 14 is the standard number that we have, but in some cases it has been mentioned that Adinath Bhagwan was the 15th Kulkar and then Bharat Chakravarti was the 16th Kulkar. So whatever may be the reason, but one thing was very sure, the birth of Kulkar is to provide comfort to the people's worries, you know. So we will see what were the problems faced by each Kulkar and what is the solution offered by that particular Kulkar. Okay. So all the Kalpavruks fading away, so that the whole system got stopped. Okay. And a new system is coming up. So earlier it was Bhog Bhumi, now it is Karma Bhumi. Okay. So people have to work for their livelihood. Earlier they never worked, you know. Just they went to the tree, Kalpavruks tree, and then asked for whatever there was requirement. Okay. So there was no system of earning livelihood, providing something, nothing like that. Okay. But now with the fading away of these trees, there was a need to align this system again in a different manner. Okay. And that different manner, the solutions were offered by each Kulkars. So straightway we move on to page number 26. The chart, the other things we have already read. Yeah. So this is the name of each Kulkar. Prati Shruti. Now, what is the problem he faced? The populace was frightened upon seeing the moon and sun in the sky. Earlier, the moon and sky were there, moon and sun were there, but the light of the Bhog Bhumi was so huge or great that this never needed any, there was no function of these two. Okay. But now with that Kalparvriks fading away, so there was the need of light. So they saw this sun and moon and they were scared that what is this alien substance? We can make a very good movie out of this, because these are some of the challenges that people faced over that period of time. And the solution provided by the Kulkar is like this. These moon and sun are eternal. They have now appeared due to the dimming of the light of the Kalpavrukshas of the Tejang type. Okay. Thus, dispelling the populace's fear by introducing the sun and moon. So, new system coming up. Okay. So, this is a very nice arrangement of things. Like, people will always have fear. So, to curb that fear, to solve that fear, these Kulkars played a very important role. So, this is what we read about the first Kulkar. Now, subsequently, we will be reading about 3 Kulkars at a time. Okay. So, we begin with Himali. We start from number 2.
So, should I read from the name of the Kulkar or the introduction?
No. From the chart only.
Okay.
Sanmati, straightway, you move.
Pratishruti. The problem was that the populace was frightened upon seeing the moon and sun in the sky. And the solution was that these moon and sun are eternal. They have now appeared due to the dimming of the light of the Kalpavriksha of the Tejang type, thus dispelling the populace's fear by introducing the sun and moon. Sanmati. The populace was frightened on seeing the darkness and the stars after the sunset, and the solution was that upon the setting of the sun, the Tejang Kalpavriksha were completely destroyed, causing darkness and rows of stars to appear. This knowledge was imparted to the populace, introducing them to darkness and stars, thereby dispelling fear. Shimankar. The populace was frightened and anxious on seeing the aggression and cruelty in animals. Due to the changes of time, these creatures have become cruel. Hence, divine instruction was given that they should never be trusted. Shimandhar. With the lions becoming cruel, they started consuming humans. Solution: to protect themselves from the cruelty of animals, humans were told to keep weapons.
Stop. So we saw the first 4 and you could see the problems creeping up during that time and the solution. Okay. So if you look at it in other way, these problems were not there when it was Bhog Bhumi. Okay. So with the transition, these problems, new problems cropping up. And to solve these problems, each Kulkar has been born and they were 14 in succession. So we just read for the first 4 and you could see that there was a corresponding Kalpavriksh tree which was serving that function earlier. But now with fading away of those trees, there was a need to have some system. And you see the animals earlier were not cruel. Elephant and lion were both sitting together. And now because of change of time, everything changed. So you see the changes, the transformation happens so fast, So we never know. So again, we come back to that principle that it is all depending on punya and pap, So after punya, the pap comes. After pap, the punya comes. This keeps on changing with everyone. Okay. So we may have some comforts at some point of time, some comforts in life. At other times, we would have discomfort also. Okay. So to navigate both the comfort and discomfort is the skill that we need to add up to be in equanimity in both the situations. And that is vitrakta, and that is passionlessness, that is detachment, and that is happiness, true happiness, you know. That is no reaction. So all these have different words, but their meaning is the same. All are synonymous, you know. So the solutions offered by the calcers were of great help to that public. Okay. Now 5, 6, 7, 8, another 4, and Soumya, you start.
Yes, sir. So Seemankar, the
Huh.
kalpvrikshas bore fewer fruits, leading to an increase in greed among humans, which next page, which resulted in conflicts over ownership. So the solution was limits were defined for the kalpvrikshas to prevent conflicts. Sixth, Simandhar, increase in quarrels due to severe decrease in kalpvrikshas. Solution was kalpvrikshas were identified and labeled, and so ownership was divided. Seventh, Vimal Vahan, experiencing obstacles, pain in the movement from one place to another. Instructions were given for the use of elephants, horses, and other vehicles. Chakshushman, till now the parents would die before seeing the face of the child, but now they began to die after seeing the child's face, thus being fearful while looking at one's own children. Introduce the children to allay the fear.
So you see the gradual changes happening in the life of the people, because the era has changed and the time has changed and there is a great transition happening. So obviously the population at large would have fears, questions, doubts, you know, and to solve all these. So you see the quarrels are not something new that is happening now. It was there in the fourth era also. The animals were cruel at that time also, you know. So what we are seeing now is an improvised version what started in the fourth era, you know. The Dukma period started, you know. So Dukma, I think it was fourth was Dukma Sukma, no? Let me see. Fourth.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Dushma Sushma, right. So Dushma Sushma, right. So the fourth is 1 Koda Kodi Sagar less 42,000 years. So this started from there only. Okay. So now one thing I'm not able to make out, limits were defined for the kalpavrikshas to prevent conflicts. Now kalpavriksha is no more functioning. So why this limits to prevent conflicts? Because anyway the kalpavrikshas were fading away. I think so they have not completely faded out, but it's again in a transition phase. So it's diminishing. That's what we can say from here. Okay. So that could be the reason. Okay. So now 9, 10, 11, 12. Madhuji.
Yes, sir. Yashasvi. The illustrious couple began to live until they named their children. Teaching about naming children. Abhichandra. Parents lived until they could see their children speak and play. Solution. Teaching to stop infants crying and to teach them to speak and play. 11. Chandraprabh. The cold increased, frost began to spread, and a strong wind started blowing. Solution. Teaching to dispel the cold with the sun's rays and knowledge of the proximity of the Karamabhumi. 12. Marudev. Witnessing of clouds, rain, lightning, river, mountain, etc. Solution. Advised to use boats, umbrellas, and taught how to build steps on mountains.
Next two also you complete.
Okay, sir. 13. Prasannajit. Upon just a minute. Prasannajit. Upon seeing the birth of the child from the womb, the parents were frightened. Solution. Teaching to dispel the placenta. 14. Nabhirai. The umbilical cord of the children became very long. There was a severe shortage of livelihood. Medicines, grains, and other fruits started growing on earth. Solution: teaching on how to cut the umbilical cord, teaching means of livelihood, then in identification and usage of medicines and grains on earth.
So Nabi Rai was the father of first Tirthankar, Lord Adinath. Okay.
Mm.
So Nabi Rai was the father, and we see the general transition that now there was a need to earn livelihood. And so Adinath Bhagwan introduced Asi, Masi, Krashi, Vidya, Vanijya. So 6 things he introduced, and through which the survival cycle began, and that's how people earned their livelihood, and there was an ecosystem being created. So each one was dependent on other, and everyone was doing their own function and at the same time surviving on those means. Okay. So this 14 Kulkars is complete. Now we move on to the next, the fourth period of Ausarpidi. Yeah.
So these Kulkars looked very different as compared to the others, or they look the same?
Somebody, if you have any idea, you can share. I don't have any idea about this.
So like how did people start kind of listening to them?
Pardon?
How did people start listening to them that they were right?
So they carried that
Power.
Yeah,
They carried that power, is it?
yeah.
Of course.
They carried that power. They were kind of leaders, among the people. So they were nothing different from the people. They were one of the people only, but with their special powers and ability, they became the Kulkars, the leaders to guide the people at large.
So earlier I was under the belief that Rushabdev Bhagwan taught us how to do agriculture and all. So it's not that, it's his father, Nabi Rai.
So that's the transit. After Nabi Rai only Adinath came. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it started from there, but he gave it a proper shape and proper, you can say, like that. And he is being credited to start this system, not the Nabi Rai. Okay. So Nabi Rai had these problems, and he was already teaching means of livelihood. He was also in that mode, but it is Lord Adinath that has been established as the doer of all those things. So identification, usage of medicines and grains on earth. Now I just imagining what kind of medicines would have been. So it would all have been Ayurvedic, Osadiyas all. The jari-booties of the forest and all those things would have been the medicines. Anyway, so this was a system which evolved automatically without any doer taking responsibility for it. And that was the need of the time, So automatically things got solved on its own. And these Kulkars became the instrumental cause in that. Now starting the fourth era. As we are reading this, we feel that we were also there in some birth, in those times. So now is again the time that we don't have to leave so much of time again in this sansar. So we better get into the path of liberation and get liberated. This world will go on, Utsarpini and Ausarpini, Ausarpini and Utsarpini. So it's going to go on. It's all eternal. Yeah. So there is no beginning, no end. But we have an end in the worldly existence. We can get ourselves liberated and enjoy eternal bliss, complete eternal bliss all the time for infinite time. Because soul is going to be there anywhere. Either it is wandering in the four states of existence or he is getting liberated. Okay, both the options are there. But here you are suffering in all the four states of existence. Each state has its own share of miseries, So nobody is happy in this universe in that sense. But when you get liberated, all these problems get solved. Okay, so that is the best thing that we can get into. Okay, so let's see the fourth period, how it pan out. Slightly below this, all we have read. Yes, the fourth period of Ausarpani. Okay, so Rekha is there. Yeah, Rekha, you can read.
Yes, sir. The fourth period of Avsarpini, Dushma Sushma. The period of Bhog Bhumi, which runs from beginning of Avsarpini to the 9 Kodakodi Sagar, ends, after which the fourth period called Dusma Shushma with 1 Kodakodi Sagar, less 42,000 years begins. This period started 3 years, 8 months and 15 days after Rishabdev's Nirvana. In this period, there is a complete absence of kalpavrikshas and different types of vegetation began to grow spontaneously. Initially, human life was based on these, but gradually, when they all began to diminish, humans started producing them according to their needs through laborious activities like agriculture. It is primarily due to the significance of agriculture and other six activities that this period is referred to as the era of action, karma bhumi. At the beginning of this era, the superior lifespan is 1 crore years. The superior height of the body is 525 dhanush, and the bones of the back are 48. In the Lok Vibhag, their superior height is stated to be 500 dhanush. Their superior lifespan gradually decreases to about 120 years by the end of Kodakodi Sagar period. The least Jaganya lifespan of all human subhumans in the Karmabhumi is Antarmodal, a little less than 48 minutes.
So you see the problem we were discussing about. So the period, the fourth period started 3 years, 8 months and 15 days after Rishabdev's Nirvana. Okay. So during the time of Rishabdev, all systems were, the culprits were fading away, and this system of working, earning for their livelihood, all that started during Rishabdev's time only. Okay. And after he got liberated, this fourth era started, fourth period of Ausarpini. Okay. So there is a complete absence of Kalpavriksha when the fourth era started. So before that, it was just fading gradually. Okay. But when this era started, there was complete absence of Kalpavrikshas, and different types of vegetation automatically began to grow spontaneously without any effort. Initially, human life was based on this, but gradually, when they also began to diminish, humans started producing them according to their needs through laborious activities like agriculture. It is primarily due to the significance of agriculture and other six activities that this period is referred to as the era of action, karma bhumi. Now, karma literally means karya. Karya means action. Okay. So this is called the era of action. Everyone has to work for his livelihood. So in that sense, sometimes I think that we are so lucky to be here in the fifth era. Okay. In fourth era, everyone has to work for livelihood. But now we have a facility. You can park your money in fixed deposits and RBI bonds and all fixed kind of instruments where you don't have to worry. The government, you are investing in government bonds only, and you get regular flow of income without working. This was not the case when the fourth era started. So you see, Tirthankar was there, everything was there, everything was good, but still. So this is a blessing in disguise for all of us that you don't have to work. If you limit your wants, if you want to live a very minimalist lifestyle, then you don't need to work all the time. You don't need to, what you call, parigraha, uh, to accumulate those possessions. You don't need to worry. So you can have very minimum investments in this kind of securities, and you will be rest assured that your life will pass on smoothly. So we are very fortunate that this is the option that we have got, which was not available in the fourth era also. Okay, so in that sense, we are very fortunate. Now in this fourth era only, 63 Salaka Purush. Okay, 63 Salaka Purush got birth, and those are 24 Tirthankars, then 12 Chakravartis, 9 Balbhadras, 9 Narayan, and 9 Prati Narayan. All these put together is 63 Salaka Purush. And then if you also include the parents of Tirthankars and all, then it becomes, I think, 169. Yeah. So these are the great personalities who maybe will get liberated in a birth or 2-3 births only. They are going to get liberated. Okay. So, so let's read about this 63 Salaka Purush. Maltij is there? Yeah, you read.
Yes, sir. 63 Shalaka Purush. In this fourth era from the region of Bharat and Eravat, 63 Shalaka Purush were born, who are renowned among humans due to their auspicious births, including 24 Tirthankars, 24 Chakravartis, 9 Balbhadra, 9 Narayans, and 9 Pratinarayans. All these positions are attained only by right faith beings, Samyak Drishti Jeev. Afterwards, those among men who go to hell lose their Samyak. However, they too at some point in the future regain Samyak and certainly attain liberation. The Tirthankar, he who impart the teachings of the Dharam Tirth, are endowed with attributes such as the Samavsharan, and those who have the great merit of the name Karma of Tirthankara are called. Who have the great merit of the name Karma of Tirthankars are called Tirthankars. Due to the absence of 4 obstructive karmas, they are known by the name Arhant. With the supreme auspiciousness in their lives, Acharya Kundkund Dev has used the term Punafalam Arhant for them. Acharya Prabhachandra, while clarifying the form of the Tirthankar, writes, Tirthakrat Samot. The Tirth is the cause of liberation from the world. The Tirth is such that it leads to liberation, and its doers are the Tirthankars. Since they are the ones who guide the Dharam Tirth, they are called Tirthankars. They have a very large assembly of Dharm known as Samavsharan. Acharya Yati Rishabh states that there are 12 chambers, assemblies in this, arranged in a clockwise direction. In these, their chief disciples, Gandhar and Muniraj, and 4 types of celestial gods, 4 types of celestial goddesses, Arikas and women, men and animals sit together to benefit from the teachings of Dharma. Animals such as elephants, lions, tiger, and deer also sit in the Samavsharan with friendly feelings, leaving aside enmity. We too have gone to the Samavsharan innumerable times. We have heard the discourse of the Tirthankar supreme beings, and we have also praised their greatness. Yet, even then, because we did not recognize the greatness of our own intrinsic knower and did not take its support, we were unable to find the path to cross the ocean of worldly existence. Chakravarti. In each fourth era, there are 12 Chakravartis. In the current fourth era in the Bharat region, the 12 Chakravartis are Bharat Sagar, Maghva, Sanat Kumar, Shantinath, Kuntunath, Aranath, Subham, Padma, Harisen, Jaisen, and Brahmadat. These 12 Chakravartis are the supreme powerful beings who conquered the 6 divisions of the earth. The glory of all these Chakravartis is elaborately described in Tilokpanti, chapter 4, verses 1382 to 1409. They have 96,000 queens, described. They have 96,000 queens, 8.4 million elephants, 1.8 crore horses, several million Vidyadhars, 88,000 nature kings, 32,000 crown kings, as many theaters, as many music halls, 14 gems, 9 treasures, 32,000 bodyguard deities, umbrellas, 32 chauris, etc. With all this divine wealth, they enjoy the tenfold pleasures.
Stop. So let's discuss first these 3. First is the Tresat Salaka Purush. As Maltiji mentioned, all the names. We are well aware. All these positions are attained only by right faith beings. That is very important. Okay. So the kind of studies that we are doing and the kind of effort that you all are putting, I definitely know that you are all going to manifest right belief and you are only eligible for this kind of post, you know. So while we are understanding the scriptures, we are benefiting by the feelings that we experience right now because of our upgraded knowledge, you know, where we are learning to absorb things, you know. So that is the first benefit. And the second benefit, the punya that we carry forward is also so great that you become Salaka Purush in your next birth, you know. You will never have woman birth anymore. So all these advantages are there along with the Samyak Darshan. Okay. But our objective is not that. Our objective is to manifest vitrakta, passionlessness, equanimity, detachment, happiness. We want to experience this feeling of happiness. Okay. So this is about the Tesar Salaka Purus. Only the right believers can have this post, you know. Only a right believer can manage 96,000 wives. False believer is struggling to maintain one wife also, you know. So the right believers only can manage this 6 khands, 96,000 wives and 60,000 children and their like wives, parents and so much of things. Only these people are capable. And out of that, 3 Tirthankars, you know, Shantinath, Kuntunath and Arnath. They were Tirthankars also, Chakravartis also, and Kamdevs also. You know, Kamdev, they are very uh, beautiful looking, you know. People just look at them and they fall in love, you know. So those are Kamdev. So 3 posts coming together to those souls, you know, who in his previous birth has understood this knowledge, the fundamental elements, and manifested right belief, and now they are having all these posts together, you know. And in spite of that, they leave everything and go to the jungle and become a monk, you know. Why? Because this feeling of detachment is more enjoyable than the sensual pleasures that they had, you know. So these things is very well established from here also, and we need to think where we are spending our time, what is the purpose of our life. We never know, this may be our last moment in this life, you know. Next moment we may not be there. So everyone has come there with a fixed period of time to live here in this birth, and before we go, we need to acquire these 3 gems: right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct. Okay. So that should be our first and foremost target, you know. We are not going to settle anything less than that. That is very sure. And we are also fortunate to have scriptures, the lecturers, the masters, the gurus, the guidance, everything coming together. Todarmalji in his 7th chapter, when he was explaining Samyatva Sanmukh Mithya Drashti, he says one line, अब सब ओर से अवसर आ गया है. You have got all the associations that you require to manifest this right belief. Okay. So we are into that very happy space now. Now the next in the lineage was Tirthankars, 24 Tirthankars, and there's Samosaran and the other things associated with that. So one thing that I wanted to clarify, the Tirth. The Tirth is the cause of liberation from the world. So what do you mean by Tirth? Try, open to all. What is Tirth here means? It is naturally not the Tirth Kshetra that we visit, you know.
Sadhu, Sadhvi, Shravak, Shavika.
No. Tirth is anyone
Sir, it is
else?
dharma.
Pardon?
Preachings.
So preachings, dharma.
Preachings. Tirth is Updesh, you know. The tirth is the cause of liberation from the world. So what is the cause of liberation from the world? These preachings, these teachings, this Jinvani. The tirth is such that it leads to liberation. And its doers are the Tirthankars. So where do we get this Jinvani from? The Tirthankars. From their Divyadvani. Okay. So all the connections are so good that there is not a iota of doubt in any of the principles that have been done by them. Since they are the ones who guide the Dharma Tirth. Okay. So they are the preachers of how to manifest this religion. Dharma. Dharma is vitrakta, the equanimity, the skill to absorb everything what is reflected, whatever is reflected in your knowledge screen. The skill not to react. Okay. We could say it in many ways, but the meaning is same, you know. The tirth, the updesh is only for vitrakta. Vitrakta is only the dharma. Okay. So we all strive to manifest that. Since they are the ones who guides the dharma tirth, they are called tirthankar. They have a very large assembly of dharma known as the Samosaran. And in that Samosaran, there are 12 sabhas. And each sabha, there are different categories of people, you know. And the animals are also there. So, and everyone understands this sermons in their own language, you know. So it's just a great, you can say, chamatkar, you know, it's a chamatkar. Acharya Yati Vrishab states that there are 12 chambers, assemblies. Yeah, that was what I'm talking about, Sabha, Dharma Sabha. In this, arranged in a clockwise direction. In these, their chief disciples, Gandhar and Muniraj, 4 types of celestial gods. So this is the sequence, you know. In the first row, it would be Gandhars and Muniraj, then the celestial gods, goddesses, then arjikas and women, then man, then animals sit together to benefit from the teachings of Dharma. Animals such as elephant, lions, tigers, and deer also sit in the samosan with friendly feelings, leaving aside enmity. Now, my question: what is creating such feeling in them? Okay, that elephant and lions and tigers, they both, deer, all sit together in the samosaran with friendly feelings, leaving aside enmity. What is the cause? Any guesses?
Their time has come for liberation, is it?
Pardon?
Their time has come for liberation.
Okay. Anyone else?
So the Updesh, which tells them that the most important thing is to look inwards for everyone, and everyone is a soul.
Okay. Good.
The vibration of Tirthankar Bhagwan's voice itself is like that, it gets enmity, equanimity, and peace.
Yes. Anyone
The
else?
word,
Sir, I think due to the effect of that periphery or that particular place.
Yes. Aura. You know the aura, the Tirthankar.
Aura.
So up to certain periods, there would not be any kind of disease. There would not be any kind of famine. These are all the special qualities of a Tirthankar, you know. Wherever a Tirthankar resides, these things comes automatically. They are carrier of the highest level of punya in this earth, you know. And just because this is a Hunda Sarpini, these Tirthankars also had inflictions. It is never. Tirthankars are the highest carrier of punya, so they will never have upsarg. But Mahavir Bhagwan had upsarg, Parsanath Bhagwan had upsarg. Why? Because we are in the time of Hunda Usufini. Okay. This is a special era where certain unnatural things have happened that we are going to study today itself. Okay. So this is all about the Tirthankars. Now the Chakravartis, because again of that Hunda Usupini, some of the Chakravarti went to Narak, Shubham Chakravarti, and one more was there. Anyone remembers the name? I think Shubham is one.
Sir, Brahmadatta Chakravarti.
Yes, Brahmadatta, right. So these 12 Chakravartis are supreme powerful beings who conquered the 6 divisions of earth. What is the reason of their conquering the 6 divisions of earth? Can anyone guess? What could be the reason? Because they were themselves going to get liberated in the same birth. So why would they conquer the 6 divisions of earth? Why? The one objective was, of course, their punya was there, their chakra ratna was there, so they had to go and do those things. But apart from that, the feeling was that whoever monks is there throughout this country, they never face any kind of difficulties. Because if the king is Jain, then obviously nobody would harm them, the monks, Jain monks. So that was the feeling, So all these pomp and grandeur of Chakravarti is elaborately described in Tilaya Panatidi, chapter 4, verse 1382 to 1409. 96,000 queens, 8.4 million elephants, horses, Vidyadhars, Mlech kings, crowned kings, music halls, gems, 9 treasures. Oh, we cannot imagine, with all this divine wealth, they enjoy the tenfold pleasures. Now we're going to start Baldev, Narayan, Pratinarayan, and then Uddangami, Savve, Baldeva, okay, Keshava, Alokgami. Okay. So the fate of Baldev, Narayan, and Pratinarayan, what they end up when they complete this life, that is being discussed here. Then we start the 5th era. So these 2 topics we would quickly finish it off.
So I have a doubt, sir.
Yes.
So the 63 Shalaka Purusha are born separately in Eravat and Bharat, no?
Yeah. See, Bharat, we are in Bharat. Eravat is reflecting similar kind of things.
Similar kind of.
Yes. I have also heard this. I don't know what is the truth or not. But that like we are now studying here, Paramagam honors, right? So in Eravat also there is a similar system happening simultaneously.
Okay.
I am raising my hand, so somebody of my thing is again raising a hand over there also. So it's a reflection of what is happening in the Bharat Kshetra. This is I have not read myself personally, but I have heard from scholars, I don't know, maybe it may be truth or untruth, I don't know. But
so one more doubt, sir. So in Kal, first, Pehla era, second and third, is there time like day and night? How many hours of the day? I mean, how many
no,
hours?
there was no day and night, no. The Kalpavriks, the light of the Kalpavriks so great that there was never a darkness.
But the time limit was 24 hours a day, like, or they didn't know that also.
Yeah, that could have been that, but the arrangements were slightly different, with Kalpavriks over there. So now, Baldev, Narayan, Pratibha. These 2 topics, Pratibhaji, you can take up.
Baldev, Narayan, Pratinarayan. In the current Avsarpini 4th era, there are 9 Baldev, 9 Narayan, and 9 Pratinarayans who are distinguished and virtuous as the Tirthankar and Chakravartis. The name of all them are mentioned in Tulyopanti. The 9 Baldevs are Vijay, Achal, Sudham, Suprabha, Sudarshan, Nandi, Nandimitra, Ram, and Padma. The 9 Narayans, Vishnu, are Tripista, Daviprista, Swayambhu, Purushottam, Purush Singh, Pundarik, Dutt, Narayan, that is Lakshman, and Krishna. while the 9 Pratinarayans are Ashwagriha, Tarak, Marak, Madhukateb, Nishab, Bali, Praharan, Ravan, and Jarsand. Regarding their counterparts, Acharya Yati Vrishabh original statement is as follow, meaning all Baldevs are generally upward moving towards heaven or liberation, and all Narayans are generally downward moving towards hell. And by using the term Taveva Padishatu, they also indicate the Pratinarayans are also generally downward moving. Among them, Narayan is generally the younger brother of Baldev. Pratinarayan is the ruler of 3 divisions according to Jain Agams. All Pratinarayans die at the hands of the Narayan. By killing him, Narayan becomes the lord of the 3 divisions referred to as
Ardha Chakri.
Adda Chakri Ravan was Pratinarayan. Therefore, he was killed not by Baldev Ram but by Narayan Lakshman. The Padma Puran describes in detail the battle between Ravan and Lakshman. All these Shakla Purushas exist in realm of karma bhumi, because a specific karma arises in their lives. Acharya Pujyapat Swami refers to the realm of karma as that place where both auspicious and inauspicious karmas exist. Although all 3 worlds are the abode of karma, still this is said due to predominance in these areas. Thanks. It is known that excellence is fundamentally dependent on karma. The inauspicious karma that leads to the 7th hell is accumulated only in the regions of Bharat and others. Similarly, the auspicious karma that leads to special places like Sarvasta Siddhi is also earned here. The commencement of 6 types of activities, including agriculture and charitable donations, also begin here. Therefore, the term Karma Bhumi, land of karma, of Bharat and other Bharat Airavat Vidya is meaningful.
Stop. So you see, among the Baldevs, Narayans and Pratinarayans, we know very vividly about Ram. He was a Baldev. His brother is Lakshman, the Narayan. And the Pratinarayans, the Ravan. They have a continuous kind of relationship, you know. The Pratinarayan always, the Narayan always kills the Pratinarayan, you know. So Lakshman killed Ravan. So this happens in every era. This kind of arrangement is there, and it's like that only. Okay. So out of these, the Baldevs are generally upward moving. Either they liberated, so Ramchandraji got liberated in the same birth, or they end up in heaven. Okay. And all Narayans and Pratinarayans, they are all downward moving. So Lakshman went to Narak, Ravan went to Narak, so they are all downward moving, Adogati. So Narayan is the younger brother of, generally the younger brother of Baldev. Pratinarayan is the ruler of 3 divisions. According to Jain Agams, all Pratinarayans die at the hands of Narayan. By killing him, Narayan becomes the lord of the 3 divisions referred to as Ardha Chakri. So Ravan was a Pratinarayan, therefore he was killed not by Baldev Ram but by Narayan Lakshman. The Padma Puran describes in detail the battle between Ravan and Lakshman. All these Salaka Purus exist in Karma Bhumi because there is a specific rise of karma. And so this auspicious and inauspicious karmas exist. So there are abodes of such karmas like heaven and hell. Okay, all these opens up only in this 4th era. So the places like Sarvat Siddhi also opens up. the commencement of 6 types of activities, including agriculture and charitable donations. All these begin from here only. So the Karma Bhumi for Bharat and others is meaningful. Now, the 5th period of Avarsarpini, Dushma. So this is the period that we are all living in. We are just at the beginning of the 3000 years of this 5th era, and going forward, the time is going to get worse and worse and worse. Already in the last 25 years, you can see the deterioration in the morals and the ethics, So this is a decreasing value of time that we are in. So now the 5th era, and Soumya, you can read the 5th era, 5th period of Avarsarpini.
Yes, sir. 3 years. Himali ji, is it the heading starting from here? 3 years,
Yeah.
8 months?
Yeah.
Yes.
3 years, 8 months, and 15 days after the Nirvana of Lord Mahavir, the 5th period began. This 5th period is said to last for 21,000 years, during which the superior lifespan of humans is mentioned as 120 years, height as 7 hands, and the bones of the back as 24. Even after the Nirvana of Lord Mahavir, many people born in the 4th period attained liberation at the beginning of this 5th period. After Lord Mahavir, Indrabhuti Gautam, Sudharma Swami, and Jambu Swami became the 3 associated Kevalis. Among the last to attain moksha in this era is Sridhar Kevali, who attained liberation from Kundalpur Dhammo. After the Kevalis, 5 Shrut Kevalis who were knowledgeable of the Dwadashang. The Dwadashangi is the collection of these 12 Angas representing the complete body of knowledge revealed by Lord Mahavir emerged. Renowned historical emperor Chandragupta Maurya was the last crown ruler to accept renunciation from the last Shrut Kevali Bhadrabahu Swami. While there are mentions of Chandragupta's coronation in Indian history, there is no record of how or where he died. For 683 years after the Nirvana of Mahavir, the tradition of Shrut continued through the Munirajas who had knowledge of Ang, 12 individual parts or sections of Dwadashang, and the past, but after Acharya Loharya, there were no more holders of the Acharanga. Nevertheless, the Shrut Tirth tradition will continue for another 20,317 years. After that, the Shrut will be discontinued at the end of the 5th period. In between, there will be continued disruptions to the religion. Disruptors of religion, Kalki and...
Kalki.
So should I read this?
Yeah.
In Jain Agam, the mention of a king named Kalki is very well known for his atrocities against Jain ascetics. The Tiloi Pannati mentions that there will be 21 Kalkis and 21 Upkalkis in this 5th period. Each Kalki arises at an interval of 1,000 years, followed by an Upkalki 500 years later. After 1,000 years of Veer Nirvan, Kalki was born in Indrapur. His name was Chaturmukh, with a lifespan of 70 years and a reign of 42 years. During his reign, the king, overly greedy, began to demand the first morsel of food as a fee from the monk. Knowing this was an obstruction, the monk left without food. He acquired Avadhigyan. Seeing this event with his Avadhigyan, an Asur deity kills the heretic Kalki. The son of that Kalki, Ajitanjay, prays at the feet of the deity saying, "Save us, save us." And that deity protects him by saying, "Rule righteously." After this, for several years, people have a sense of religion, but then it gradually declines again. Such a situation arises during the time of each Kalki, and Upkalki. For each Kalki in the fifth era, the respective Muniraj acquires Avadhi From the beginning of this fifth period, various plants become tasteless. Humans serve those devoid of virtues such as character, truth, strength, brilliance, and true knowledge, as they themselves are afflicted by delusion and attachment, losing their sense of propriety and shame. The people of this period are devoid of humility, filled with anxiety, and exhibit pride, arrogance, anger, greed, and cruelty. In this period, beings being come to commit sins and live their lives engaged in sinful actions. Some beings appear to obtain external favorable conditions as the result of former merit, such as the fruition of giving alms and so on. Yet their minds still remain restless. A few people, through taking support of the Jinvani and engaging in the contemplation of the tattvas, that is, principles, experience a little peace. Their number is very small, they are rare. In this fifth period, due to the absence of individual distinguished by self control, the Charan Riddhidhari Munis, endowed with powers, deities, and celestial beings, do not come here.
Stop. So in the fifth era, due to the absence of individuals distinguished by self-control, the Charan Riddhidhari Munis endowed with powers, deities, and celestial beings do not come here. Okay. So this is about Kalki and Upkalki. Before that, the fifth era that we read about, 3 years, 8 months, and 15 days. So after Rishabdev Bhagwan, it was again the same period, 3 years, 8 months, 15 days after Rishabdev's Nirvan. The fourth era began. And after the liberation of Lord Mahavir, 3 years, 8 months, and 15 days, the fifth period began. So, such a similarity. So, this is again of 21,000 years, and during which the superior lifespan of humans is mentioned as 120 years. Still, sometimes in the newspaper, you read that somebody who is the longest surviving is 120 years old. Still, we could see some cases of like that. Height as 7 hands, and the bones of the back as 24. So gradually it is deteriorating. It was 256, then it became 128, then 64, then 32, and now it is 24. Even after the Nirvana of Lord Mahavir, many people born in the fourth period attain liberation at the beginning of this fifth period. So I always knew about the 3, but this is again something I didn't knew about, but I have heard about this. Yeah. After Lord Mahavir, Indrabhuti Gautam, his chief disciple, preceptor, then Sudharma Swami and his chief disciple, Jambu Swami, became the 3 associated Kevlis. Okay. Among the last to attain moksha in this era is Sridhar Kevli. Okay, so this I didn't knew. I thought only 3 only got liberated, but this is again something new that I came to know now. Who attained liberation from Kundalpur, Damo. It's in MP. After the Kevlis, 5 Shrut Kevlis. Now these Shrut Kevlis are those people who know about the 12 Angas, the complete Jinvani, okay, as came from Lord Mahavir's sermons, Dvat Shang, 12 Angas. So these Shrut Kevlis, they are the possessor of this knowledge, these Shrut Kevlis. Then, and then further it got deteriorated, renowned historical Emperor Chandragupta was the last crowned ruler to accept renunciation from the last Shrut Kevli, Bhadrabahu Swami. So there is a story that after Bhadrabahu Swami, during the time of Bhadrabahu Swami, there was a famine that was supposed to come up after 12 years. Okay. So Bhadrabahu Swami instructed that let's move towards south because in the north there would be extreme famine and it would be difficult to survive here as a monk. So Bhadrabhahu Swami and many monks, they moved towards the south, and some of them stayed back, and that is how the Svetambar Parampara came up, you know. There is a comic on this. I have read about the comic, about the story of Bhadrabhahu Swami and how the Svetambar tradition came up, you know. While there are mention of Chandragupta's coronation in Indian history, there is no record of how, where he died. For 683 years after the Nirvana of Mahavir, the tradition of Srut continued through the Muniraj, who had knowledge of 12 Anga, okay, and it was orally passed on. But after Acharya Loharya, there were no more holders of the Acharang. Nevertheless, the Srut tradition will continue for another 20,317 years. Okay, so out of 21,000 years, after 683 years of Lord Nirvana of Lord Mahavir, so another 20,317 years, this will carry on the Srut tradition, which has been passing on from acharyas to acharyas, and then it was written down by during the time of Acharya Dharsan. So you have a story in Aap Kuch Bhi Kaho, Jagrut Vivek, you know, that's the story about how the scripture started, writing of the scripture started, you know. The Acharya Dharsan, under him, two monks were there, Acharya Pushpadant and Acharya Bhutbali. They initiated the writing of the scriptures, and from that, again, lineage, we are here with these Chinvanis. After that, the Srut will be discontinued. So after the 5th era, the Srut will be discontinued at the end of the 5th period. In between, there will be continued disruptions to the religion. There would be disruption, but it will never be the end of religion at any point of time. There would not be any break, because between the 9th Tirthankar and the 16th Tirthankar, there were many breaks where there were no monks, no Arjikas, no Shravaks, no Sravikas, no Jain religion. It was the situation there. But after the 16th Tirthankar, Shantinath Bhagwan, this tradition is going to continue without any interruption till the end of the 5th era. So in that sense, Shantinath is again considered to be the starter of that tradition, you know, in uninterrupted traditions. About Kalki and Apkalki, so this also we read that each Kalki arises at an interval of 1000 years, and there were 21 Kalkis and 21 Upkalkis. They were well known for his atrocides against Jain ascetics, you know. After 1000 years of Veer Nirvan, Kalki was born in Indrapur. His name was Chaturmukh, with a lifespan of 70 years and a reign of 42 years. During his reign, the king, overly greedy, began to demand the first morsel of food as a fee from the monk. So they were already creating atrocides against Jain ascetics, and this was another. Knowing this was an obstruction, the monk left without food. He acquired Avdigyan. Seeing this event with his Avdigyan, an Asur deity kills the heretic Kalki. You know, the son of that Kalki, Ajitan Jai, lays at the feet of the deity, saying, Sevas, Sevas, and that deity protects him by saying, rule righteously. Never create an atrocides on any monk or any other person. After this, for several years, people have a sense of religion, but then it gradually declines again. Such a situation arises during the time of each Kalki and Upkalki. For each Kalki in the 5th era, the respective Muniraj acquires avdigyan. So all these systems are set. So from
So
the
it is
beginning,
written, so it is
Yeah.
written here in the fifth period, there will be 21 Kalkis and 21 Upkalkis. So
right,
this is the fifth era.
right,
Pancham Kali hai ye. So
yeah.
then who is the Kalki at the moment? We haven't
Mm,
heard of any Kalki
So,
in
so
our.
it is at an interval of 1000 years. So if we are in between that years, there would not be any Kilki right now. Maybe that could be the reason.
Yes, sir.
So the 21 Kalkis, and we have 21,000 years. Okay. So after an interval of 1000 years, there will be a Kalki. So maybe we are in the interim period where there is no Kalki. On the contrary, we are having a great flow of religion across everywhere with access to such kind of scriptures and preachers and uh, learners also, seekers also. All these are very rare. Okay. Humans serve those devoid of virtues such as character. From the beginning of the fifth period, various plants become tasteless. Humans serve those devoid of virtues such as character, truth, strength, brilliance, and true knowledge, as they themselves are afflicted by delusion and attachment, losing their sense of propriety and shame. The people of this period are devoid of humility, filled with anxiety, and exhibit pride, arrogance, anger, greed, and cruelty. So we are so lucky that we are not suffering from all these right now, right? So we are blessed in that sense. In this period, beings come to commit sins and live their lives engaged in sinful actions. So there is nothing surprising right now. People committing sins every now and then. If you open up the newspaper, you see sins committed at every sphere of life, and just putting ourselves in those people's footsteps, uh, we will incur more vairagya. We will have a feeling of more detachment, and at the same time we will realize the importance of what we have got. Such beings appear to obtain external favorable conditions as the result of former merit. All their former merits are coming right now because future is going to be very bad for them. They are going to born in hell and other places. So there the punya, rise of punya doesn't come. So all his punya because of Udirna comes here while he is indulging in all wrongful activities, sinful activities, and it finishes, and then he has just miseries to suffer from, such as the fruition of giving alms and so on, yet their mind still remains restless. A few people, through taking support of the Jinvani, so we are all into that category of few people who are taking support of this Jinvani and engaging in the contemplation of the tattvas, principles, fundamental elements, experience a little peace. Their number is very small, they are rare. So by accidentally we have got all these, and we are just not realizing what we have got. In this fifth period, due to the absence of individuals distinguished by self-control, the Charan Rididari Munis, they don't come here, and the celestial being also do not come here. Now the final Kalki. So again a transition phase is coming up after the fifth era, and then the sixth era will begin. Okay. So final Kalki. Let's read about this and then the sixth era. Okay. And I think all of you have read once. Okay. So again, we start from Himali.
The fifth Kalki. Currently, the fifth period is going on in the Bharat and Airavata regions, where gradually religion, lifespan, and height will decrease, and eventually the 21st Kalki will arise. At that time, there will be a monk named Virang Virangaj, and Arjika named Sarvashri, and a couple of lay persons named Angil and Pangushri. In the Jinagam proclaimed by the Omniscient, the clear description of future events, along with their specific names, reveals the unique capacity of Keval Gyani omniscience. The scriptures mention one event that occurs at the end of every fifth era as follows. One day, Kalki tells his ministers, "O ministers, is there any man who is not under my control?" The minister replies, "O king, there is one monk who is not under your control." Then Kalki commands that you should take the first morsel from that monk's food as a tax. Following Kalki's command, when the first morsel is requested, the monk immediately gives it and leaves. And having attained Avdi Gyan, he calls the Arika and the layperson and tells that the time of the fifth period has ended. You and we have 3 days of life left, and this is the final Kalki. Then all four individuals renounce all types of food, and on the day of Kartik Krishna Amavasya, under the Swati constellation of the sun, they leave their bodies in a state of meditation and are reborn in the Sudharma heaven. The monk takes on a lifespan equivalent to that of one Sagaropam, and the other three take a lifespan of a little more than Paliopam. On the same day at noon, a deity of Asur Kumar kills Kalki, and fire is extinguished at sunset. So, shall I continue?
Yeah, sixth period.
The sixth period of Avsarpani, Ati Dushama. 3 years, 8 months, and 15 days after the death of the last Kalki, the sixth period, called Ati Dushma, begins. This period also lasts for 21,000 years. At the beginning of this period, the height of human bodies is 3 or 3.5 hands. The bones of the back are 12, and the maximum lifespan is 20 years. Due to the influence of the Avsarpini period, there is a gradual decline. And by the end of the sixth period, the height of the human will be barely 1 hand, and the maximum lifespan will be only 15 to 16 years. The lives of beings born in this period are extremely sorrowful. Due to the absence of fire in this period, the food of beings remain raw. With the cessation of production of grains, the roots of trees and fish become the main diet. All beings in this period are carnivores. These humans wander in forests without houses and clothing. Due to the rise of sins, they are mute, deaf, blind, hunchbacked, cruel, impoverished, black, naked, deformed, afflicted with various diseases, possessing foul smelling bodies, sinful, familyless, and behave like animals. Acharya Yati Vrishab says, Dukhana Tana Kahidu Ko Sakai Eka Jihe. Who can describe with a single tongue the extent of their sufferings and pains? No one. Implying that their miseries are so vast and intense that they cannot be expressed by one tongue alone. In such a period, beings are born as a result of sin, and by continuously committing sins while residing here, they again attain downfall. In this regard, the Tilayopanthi states that all beings born in this period come to hellish or animalistic destinies by rule, and even after dying, they go to hellish or subhuman Tiryansh destiny.
So Kalpan period, let's first discuss this. So you see the final Kalki. So every 1,000 years, there is a Kalki. So 21 Kalkis in 21,000 years. And when the final Kalki was here, the fifth era was about to end. And you can just see the names given of that monk who was surviving. His name is Virangaj. and Arika named Sarvashri, and the couple, the name also mentioned Agnil and Pangushri. So all this unique reveals the unique capacity of omniscience. Everything is mentioned. So we never doubt, because these are some of unpurposeful things. Even purposeful things which has got a direct bearing in our lives, happiness and unhappiness, there they didn't say anything wrong. So why should they say anything wrong in unpurposeful elements? Yeah. So whatever has been said in terms of Jinwani is all very authentic, and we should never doubt it, and we should believe it as it is. So that because of that first morsel of that monk as a tax they wanted, so the monk gives it, and it's an antray for the monk. If anyone asks while they are taking food, they immediately leave away without taking the food. And then, having attended Yajna, he calls the other three and tells them that this period is going to end. You have 3 days left. So during those 3 days, they meditated and just tried to concentrate on their self. And these all 4 individuals renounce all types of food. And on the day of Kartik Krishna Amavasya, under the Swati constellation of the sun, they leave their bodies in a state of meditation and are reborn in the Sudharma heaven. The monks takes on a lifespan equivalent to that of 1 Sagarupam, and the other 3 takes a lifespan of little more than Palyopam. And then a deity, Asur Kumar, kills Kalki, and fire is extinguished at sunset. So that is the end of the 5th era, and the 6th era begins. 8 months, 3 years, 8 months, and 15 days after the death of last Kalki. So this is a connection. 3 years, 8 months, and 15 days. So there is a gradual further decline in the 6th era. The height and the age, initially it would be 20 years, and then it would be 15, 16 years. And the height will also deteriorate. A very sorrowful time, worst. It cannot be explained through, we cannot explain through our tongue, the sufferings and pains they undergo. So the miseries are so vast and intense that cannot be expressed by one tongue alone. In such a period, beings are born as the result of sin and continuously committing sins while residing here. So that cycle goes on, sins and again sins and again sins. They again attain downfall. In this regard, Thilomis states that all beings born in this period come to hellish or animalistic destinies by rule, and even after dying, they go to hellish or subhuman destinies. Okay. Now, Kalpant period, Pralay, the end of the 6th era, and then this discussion on Hunda Usanu period, then summary of 6th period of Utsarpani, that the time is going to come. Utsarpani is going to come, Ausarpani is going to end. The Kulkars of Utsarpani Kal, then regions of unchanging time. So we are going to end this very soon. And then some discussions, some question answers coming up. We will discuss that also. Okay. So we begin with Kalpant period and Hunda Avsari period. We are doing both together. And Soumya, you read.
Yes, sir. Kalpant period, Pralay. With the end of 6th period of Avsarpani, the Kalp period also concludes, which begins with Utsarpani. When there are 49 days left until the end of the Kalpa period, the fearful Pralay period begins among all beings here. First, a great and terrifying storm begins, which shatters trees and mountains. Acharya Mantung states that Kalpant Kal Maruta Chalita Chalena. The winds of the Kalpant period move even the immovable mountains. During such a dreadful storm, all beings are extremely distressed and seek safety. They continue to seek refuge, but among them only the distinct numbers and the complete 72 pairs find safety on the altars of Ganga and Sindhu rivers and in the midst of the Vijayardha forest. It is in these places that compassionate gods and celestial beings also safely deliver some countable humans and animals. During this period of cataclysm lasting for 49 days, there occurs incessant rain for 7 days each in succession of snow, saline water, poisonous water, smoke, dust, thunderbolts, and fire poured down by the fiercely roaring clouds. By this, in the Arya region of the Bharat area, the land situated 1 yojan above the Chitra is burned and destroyed. According to modern scientists, the currently accepted world can be considered as this elevated land of Arikhand according to Jain beliefs. This land, which is 1 yojan or approximately 6,000 kilometers elevated, will again become flat at the end of 6th period after the destruction. The Tiloi Pannati mentions the burning and flattening of this elevated land, but there is no evidence available regarding when and how this land became elevated. This remains the subject of research. The Tatvarth Shlok Vartik 4 by 13 states on page 563 that the ups and downs of the earth are observed due to the influence of time. According to the evidence from Tiloi Pannati, it is indeed certain that the land of Arikhand has been elevated by 1 yojan. Hundav-Sarpani period. After the countless Avsarpani and Utsarpani periods, a famous exception known as the Hundav-Sarpani period arrives. Many peculiarities occurring during this time are discussed in the texts such as Tiloi Pannati, summarized as follows. First, in the third Kal time period of the Bhog Bhumi, land of enjoyment, called Sushma Dushma, rainfall begins and the generation of beings possessing imperfect sense organs, Vikalendriya Jeev, starts. In the Jaganya Bhog Bhumi, inferior land of enjoyment, itself occurs the end of Kalpavriksha, wish-fulfilling trees, the commencement of the Karma Bhumi, land of action, and also the appearance of the first Tirthankar and the Chakravartin, universal monarch. Third, it is during the Sushma Dushma Kal that beings begin to attain moksha gaman, the path of liberation. Fourth point, the breaking of Chakravartin's victory and through him the emergence of Brahmana Varna, Brahman class. Fifth, the number of Shalaka Purush decreases to 63. Sixth, the disruption of religion occurs between the 9th and 16th Tirthankars. Seventh, 11 Rudras and quarrelsome 9 Narads are born. Eighth, the 7th, 23rd and the final Tirthankar undergo afflictions. Ninth, in the 3rd, 4th and 5th Kal, various types of wicked, sinful, evil deities and Kulinis begin to appear, destroying the supreme religion. 10th, low castes such as Chandal, Shabar, Pulind, Kirat, etc. are generated. 11th point, in the 5th period called Dushma, there are 42 Kalkis and Upkalkis. 12th point, the occurrence of excessive rainfall, drought, land uplift and lightning, fire, etc. The birth of Tirthankars in each of Sarpani and Utsarpani occurs regularly in Ayodhya, and all Tirthankars attain liberation from Sammet Shikhar as per the norm. However, due to the influence of time, currently only 5 Tirthankars have been born in Ayodhya and only 20 Tirthankars have attained Nirvana from Sammet Shikhar. Some people attribute the influence of time to the fact that the first Tirthankar Rishabdev had a daughter. Thus, various types of diversities, peculiarities, faults, or exceptions occur during this Honda period of Avsarpani.
So the afflictions on Tirthankar is again an exceptions like this only. Okay. So or more or less it was all clear and there's nothing to be clarified. Now before that Hunza Kalpant period, Pralay. So these 49 days of rains of different stature in succession, it's clear up the land, and the land again become fresh because After the end of this Ausarpini, the Utsarpini will begin. Okay. The cycle where the things will improve gradually. Okay. So that is going to begin. So before that, this 49 days of rains of different type, like snow, saline water, then poisonous water, then smoke, then dust, then thunderbolts and fire, poured down by the fiercely roaring clouds. All these happens, and this land becomes again fresh, and the sixth era, that is the time of increasing improvement, everything keeps on improving, that era begins. So the modern scientist, the currently accepted world can be considered as this elevated land of Arya Khand. According to Jain beliefs, the land which is 1 yojan or approximately 6,000 kilometers elevated will again become flat at the end of the sixth period after the destruction. So Tiloipanati also mentions about all these details, and that is
So this phrase that they've used, Kalpantakalu Maruta Chalita Chalena, this is Bhaktamar's throat. So this is not Tiloy Pandanti.
No, not this Tiloipanati, the last para. I'm into last para now.
But this phrase that they've used is from a later period. Because ye to, I think Chandragupta Maurya or somebody's period, only this phrase was coined. Bhaktamar's throat was written at that time.
Of course, this Bhaktamar was written by Matung Swami, and I think it was after maybe after Kunkund Acharya. So maybe 2000 years ago. So this many a times the same thing appears in different scriptures also. So we have one Gatha which is there in Samaisar, then it is also in Pravatansar, then it is also in Niyamsar, then it also in Panchastikai, and then it is also in Ashtapaud, and then is also in Dhawla, Jai Dhawla. So one same verse, everything everywhere appearing in the same manner. So there are some things happening like that. So this may be the case that this is there in the Bhaktamar also, and so here they mentioned it is by Bhaktam Acharya Mantung only. Okay, but it may appear in some other text also that I am not aware. Okay, so I was referring to the last paragraph. The Tiloipanati mentions the burning and flattening of this elevated land. So all these details are there in Tiloipanati and Slokvartik. All these are all commentaries. Tatvat Rajvartik and all these are commentaries on Tatvat Sutra only. Okay, so maybe this is all written after the Tatvat Sutra. So Tatvat Sutra was written in the 2nd century. Bhaktamar Stotra was written when? Do you have any idea?
Much later, sir. This is
Sir, 6th or 7th centuries AD.
6th, 7th
1400
century.
years
From and this the Tatvat Rajvadik all have been written.
Tatvat, sir, approximately the same time, but Bhaktambar Stotra was written in MP, wherein Tatvat Rajvartik, etc., written by Acharya Aklank, was written in Tamil Nadu in 7th century, at the same time, approximately.
Okay. And Bhaktamar in 6th century, right?
6th, yes, 7th century, sir, in Ujjain, in MP.
Okay.
Dharanagri, yes, sir.
So much later after Kunkund Acharya Dev.
Yes, sir, 500 years after Kundakundacharya.
So, little bit of history also we are knowing through this scripture. And the Hunda Uspini, the exceptions during Hunda Uspini. So normally it is not like that, but this was a special time of Hunda Uspini. So these things, exceptional things happened. Now we are going to study about the 6 periods of Utsarpini. What things are going to improve now from now on. So we will see how these things change. Okay. This 49 days rains changed everything. That is going to come here. Then the Kulkars of Utsarpini Kal. Then the regions of unchanging time. So I think the 6 periods of Utsarpini is not explained in detail. It's only a short account. I think nothing must have been written about this, more about this. So it has been written in a very summarized manner, we can say. Okay. But nevertheless, we will study those. So Maltiji, you only read this 6 periods of Utsarpini.
Yes, sir. After the passage of the 6 periods of Avsarpani, where there is decline of favorable conditions for living beings, the Utsarpani period begins in the reverse order. Its 6 periods are in the opposite sequence to Avsarpani, and the circumstances also align accordingly. The first 3 periods of Avsarpani are of the enjoyment realm, while the last 3 periods are of the action realm. Conversely, the first 3 periods of Utsarpani are of the action realm, and the last 3 periods are of the enjoyment realm. At the end of the Avsarpani period, there is destruction in the creation through negative influences for 49 days. In the Utsarpani period, creation begins anew through positive influences for the initial 49 days. Here, with the rainfall of Pushkar, Kshir, Amrit, Ras, herbs, fragrant water, etc. for 7 days, the entire earth, scorched by lighting fire, becomes cool. Receiving the cool fragrance, humans and animals hidden in caves begin to emerge. At this time, there is no fire here, thus their food, lifestyle, conduct, etc. are like those of animals. Gradually, as age, brilliance, intelligence, physical strength, forgiveness, patience, etc. increase, the Dushma period lasts for 21,000 years. And after that, when another 20,000 years of the subsequent Dushma period pass, then the food and other aspects of humans, it continues in the same manner. Should I read the next?
Yeah.
The Kulkars of Utsarpani Kaur. When there are 1,000 years left for the commencement of the Dushma Sukhma, the fourth era, then 14 Kulkars again on the earth of these Bharat Eravat regions. Acharya Nemitra mentions 16 Kulkars instead of 14, where Padma and Mahapadma are the 2 additional names. All these Kulkars teach the beings of the world about generating fire, cooking food, getting married, and maintaining etiquettes with relatives and family, among other things. In the Utsarpani call also, there are 24 Tirthankars. The son of the last Kulkar becomes the first Tirthankar. Tirthankars always exist in the Dushma Sukhma period. This is referred to as the 4th period in comparison to the Avsarpani, and the 3rd period with respect to Sarpani, and the mention of in which life the bondage of Tirthankars' nature occurred or will occur are also available in Jain Agams. According to Acharya Yativ Rishabh and Acharya Nemi Chandra, the first Tirthankar of the upcoming 24 Tirthankars would be Mahapadma, who had acquired the nature of bondage of Tirthankar during his life of King Shrenik, and the 16th Tirthankar, Nirmal, had the bondage in the life of Sri Krishna. Thus, the birth and deeds of Tirthankars, Chakravartis, Narayans, Pratinarayans, and Balbhadra complete the 3rd period. As soon as the 4th period of Utsarpani begins, at the same time, the group of beings with body senses and family distinctions are destroyed, and in the first Samay, the Kalpvriksha also come into existence. In the 4th Kal of the Utsarpani, the Jaganya Bhogbhumi, in the 5th Kal, the Madhya Bhogbhumi, and in the 6th Kal, the Uttam Bhogbhumi is experienced. The nature of these Bhogbhumis is the same as those of the Avsarpani descending time cycle. The only difference is that here there is a period of gradual increase, whereas there it was a period of decline. Thus, after the 6th Kal of Utsarpani, after the 6 Kals of Utsarpani are completed, the Avsarpani Kal begins again. In this way, the sequence has been continuing since beginningless time and will continue endlessly.
Top. So you see, 6th period of Utsarpini. So 49 days rain again. That was I wondering, because those rains were a cause of destructions, and this 49 days again in the Utsarpani period, this is going to freshen up the things, and then things would start improving. Okay, so it's not just like Bhumi Shuddhi. So the entire earth scorched by lightning fire becomes cool, and then the humans and animals hidden in caves begin to emerge. At this time, there is no fire here, thus their food, lifestyle, conduct, etc. all like those of animals. gradually as age, brilliance, intelligence, physical strength, forgiveness, patience, etc. increase, the Dusma period lasts for 21,000 years, and after that, another 20,000 years of the subsequent Dusma period pass. Then the food and other prospects of human. I think there is something missing here. Let me check
Yeah,
the.
it looks like. Yeah,
it
this
continues in the same manner. Okay, let me see
sentence
here.
is not complete here.
Hindi.
I think it should be, and other aspects of humans continue in the same manner, so that it has to be.
Okay. Yeah. पुष्पिणी काल में कुलकर्ष. Okay. So I'm just reading the last line. उसके बाद जब आगामी दुस्मा काल के भी 20,000 वर्ष व्यतीत होते हैं, तब तक मनुष्यों का आहार आदि उसी प्रकार चलता रहता है. So it continues in the same manner. That is the part of the same. It's not a break of sentence. It continues. Okay. So that the food and other prospect of humans continues in the same manner. Okay. So there is no full stop here. So that is only the mistake. Otherwise, it's all okay. So you can do the corrections physically in your book right now. Okay. Now the kulkars of Utturikal, similar to that we saw in the Ausarpanikal, this kulkars, and the last kulkar's son becomes the first Tirthankar, and the 63 Salaka Purush, the 24 Tirthankars, all coming up in the fourth Kal of the Utsarpini. Third Kal of Utsarpini. Fourth Kal, again, Bhogbhumi will start. Then the fifth Kal, Madhyam Bhogbhumi, and then the sixth Kal, Uttam Bhogbhumi will come. So everything is happening in the reverse direction. Okay. Again, after the finishing of this cycle of Utsarpini, the Ausarpini Kal will begin. Okay. But that Ausarpini will not be Hunda Ausarpini. Okay. Because one Hunda Ausarpini comes after countless Utsarpini goes away. So that is not going to be the same. Now, the next topic is regions of unchanging time. Okay. So that is the last topic, and then the question answers. So we'll be reading the question answers also. So regions of unchanging time. This is the topic, and Madhuji, you read.
Yes, sir. In this world, there are many regions where the same time always prevails. The 6 periods of time change only in the 5 Bharat and 5 Eravat regions, and that too only in their Aryakhand. It does not happen in the Maichakhand. In Tilyopannati and Tirloksar, there are mentions of 5 Maichakhand and Vidyadhara categories in Avsarpini. From the beginning to the end of the 4th era, decline is mentioned, and from the beginning of the end of the 3rd era, there is an increment. Uma Swami Acharya writes, prohibiting the change of time in all lands except Bharat and Airavat regions. In Devakuru and Uttarakuru, there is always a creation similar to the first era called Shushma, that is excellent enjoyment land. In the Videha region, there is always a condition similar to the fourth era called Dushma. Here, there is never excessive rain, drought, famine, etc. In Harik Kshetra and Ramyaka Kshetra, there is always a creation of medium enjoyment land similar to the second era called Shushma, which is always divide of loss and increase. In Himavat Kshetra and Hiranyavat Kshetra, there is always an environment of Jaganya Bhogbhumi land similar to the era called Shushma Dushma.
Similar to the third era.
Similar to the third era called Sushma Dushma. Yes, sir. The rules of the first to fourth eras have been presented by Acharya Nemi Chandra in a single verse in Loka Vibhag The time unchangeability has also been stated on the mountains like Nishad and Nila, etc. In the Madhyalok, that is the middle world, excluding the 2.5 dweeps, continents, and the last half dweep and samudra, that is ocean, in all remaining innumerable dweeps and samudras, the Jaganya Bhogbhumi, inferior land of enjoyment, that is corresponding to the third kal, that is period, prevails. In the last half of the Swarna Bhurmana dweep and the last
Swambhu Raman Dweep,
Swambhu Raman and the last Swambhu Raman Samudra.
Samudra.
There exists the Karambhumi, land of action, where the condition is similar to that of the fifth Kal, that is Dushma. Regarding the change of time in the four destinies, Acharya Nemichandra writes, which means that Padma Deva Karimu Nire Tiri Garevi Chakkala, which means that in the divine realm there is always the first Shushma, that is Shushma and Shushma Kal, in the hellish realm. This is always the sixth, Dushma Kal, and in humans and subhumans, all six Kals exist, where the first and sixth Kals of celestial and hellish beings are mentioned. One should understand in it one should understand it in terms of circumstances, not in terms of lifespan. Fifth,
Stop.
some people.
Stop. So you see the wheels, the changes that are happening in the time. There are many regions where the same time prevails. So this 6-period system is only in Bharat and Airavat. Okay, in Mahavidya Kshetra, and that too only in Aryakhand. So there are 5 Malaj Khand and 1 Aryakhand, I suppose, in Bharat and Airavat. So all this description that we have shown is all about Aryakhand only. Okay, it does not happen in Malaj Khand. In Tilapana, there are mentioned the 5 Malaj Khand and Vidyadhar categories in Avsar Pidi. Okay. So all these are there from the end of the 4th era where, so this is all very clear. So different Kshetra, there are different types of time prevailing, and that it's again compared to either it is Sushma or Sushma Dushma, depends. Okay, so we know the 6 periods, and similar to that, it has been mentioned in different Kshetras what is prevailing, you know. So all these would be similar to that of that era, you know. So now we are in the 5th era. So in the last half of the Swambhu Dweep and Sumudra. So after this 2.5 continents, Dweep, you know, there are innumerable island, then ocean. Again island, again ocean. It goes on like that. Okay. So in the last half of the Swambhu Raman Dweep and Swambhu Raman Samudra, there exists the Karma Bhumi. Okay. Land of action, where the condition is similar that of the 5th Kal, Dushma. And in that Swambhu Raman Samudra, there is large piece of fish, you know, magarmach, what is called? It is called Swambhu Raman Samudra, Tandul Mach and Raghav Mach, you know, so huge. And he is the holder of 5th stage of spiritual development. Okay, so very surprising that such a big, but still he is in the such a big fish, but he is still in the 5th stage of spiritual development. That means he is experiencing his soul all the time. So all this comes to end of all these 6 time period, and different regions have different kinds of time periods, and but the description would be similar to what we just read about the 6 periods of time. Okay, where the 1st and 6th Kals of celestial and hellish beings are mentioned, one should understand it in terms of circumstances, not in terms of lifespan. So circumstances means the 6 eras that we saw, similar things will prevail in that. Now some simple queries, some from scientific point of view, the modern research and all. And I think this question is going to be a part of your LCPA. Which Kal is currently in the state of Utsarpini or Ausarpini? Which Kal is currently, so presently we are in Utsarpini or Ausarpini, and that is what they want to discuss here. Okay, so some simple queries, few questions are there, and then it's going to end. So we are just going to read these questions. It's all very simple, self-explanatory, but still we would like to read these through. Okay, so Rekha, you start reading some simple queries. Rekha is not there. So Soumya, you read.
Yes, sir. Some simple queries. After discussing the nature of time and its various types, based on various Agam texts, some queries remain in the mind regarding these subjects. An attempt is being made here to address them appropriately. Which Kal is currently in the state of Utsarpani and Avsarpani? According to Jain Agams, the current era is Avsarpani. This era is characterized by decline. Today, humanity appears not only to be developing in every field, but also to be in a state of growth. In such a situation, accepting that the current era is a period of decline, that is Avsarpani, according to the Agams, is not easy. Proving this in today's materialistic age is also a challenging task. During a seminar organized by Ashtapat Research International Foundation on December 15, 16, 2012 in Ahmedabad, when I presented my research paper on Avsarpani era and the current world, many scientists associated with NASA and ISRO present their expressed objections to considering the current era as Avsarpani. After the presentation, there were many questions and debates. They argued that the current era is Utsarpani. The present era is not one of decline, it is a period of development. This is the age of science. New discoveries and the invention of machines, calculators, computers, the internet, etc. is indicative of human progress. 100 years ago, there were no lights and means of transportation were not easily accessible. There were no comforts like mobile phones, televisions, or air conditioners. There is a vast difference between the lifestyle of people in the past and that of people today. And this difference is towards development, not decline. Although the above statement may seem correct at an intellectual level, when discussed at the level of faith, there can be no doubt about the truth of the scriptures. They are accepted by us as authoritative. Therefore, there is a need for deep contemplation in this direction. Today, the development of science is evident. However, it has also led to a decline in human physical and mental capabilities. Calculating with the calculator has become very easy, but our minds have become equally weak. uh, Equally weak. We search for calculators even for small calculations. Television has secured the top position among entertainment mediums today, but has this not led to a decline in our social and family life? Although many modern appliances such as washing machines, mixers, and others have physical and and others have brought convenience to household work, their use has in fact reduced the very ability to work with our hands. Today, physical endurance and strength have greatly diminished. The bones have become like glass. All this is indeed decline. Mobile phones, computers, and the internet, although very useful in the present time and making tasks easier, do they not make us feel handicapped without them? The development that appears through science could this development be the very knock of destruction? Who is unaware of the devastation that occurred in Japan in March 2011 due to radiation? In reality, in the context of Avsarpani era, decline refers to reduction of lifespan, bodily height, physical strength, righteousness, knowledge, depth of character, patience, and so on. Mere material development is not an indicator of true progress. At present, along with the reduction of physical capacity, moral values are also diminishing. The moral and ethical downfall of society likewise attests that the present is indeed the Avsarpani era. In this way, even though the Avsarpani nature of the present era is established through many lines of reasoning, the rational-minded youth still does not accept it in his heart. He says, say whatever you like, but in the present time, we see development everywhere. Not only development, material development, but the development in the religious sphere is also not lacking. Nowadays, camps are being organized in every village. Every year, hundreds of scholars are being trained in spiritual gatherings, Panchkalyanaks, temple construction, and so on. There has been far greater increase now compared with past centuries. What is your view regarding this? Brother, what you say is correct, but this is not the growth of religion. Religion is not an external thing. It is the inner transformation of non-attachment, vitrak parinati, which occurs only in one's own soul's domain. What you are calling the development of the religious field is not the field of real religion at all. It is only the external favorable circumstances for manifesting religion in one's own modification. Yes, it is certainly true that the present age is an age of spiritual awakening. Today, the number of people who engage in discussions on spirituality has increased considerably. The present circumstances are far more favorable for those who wish to pursue self welfare than they were 150 to 200 years ago. Had we been born on this very land of India 150 200 years earlier, it would have been rare to find such easy access to the study and teachings of Vidrag Jain doctrine. In this way, although from a spiritual standpoint great development is also visible in the present era, yet on the basis of this development, the present era cannot be regarded as Utsarpani era. The era is indeed Avsarpani, an era of decline. Even though so much advancement is seen in terms of external conditions, at present there is not even one Arihant Supreme Being here. The yeah, Supreme Being here. The sight of true saints is also rare. Persons who are experienced, right faith, samidrishti, knowledgeable, and righteous are likewise seldom seen in this era. This very small number of experienced and knowledgeable individuals itself confirms that the era is of Sarpadi. There are no ladder climbers, Shreni Charan, no practitioners of Shukla Dhyan, no knowers of the Dwadashang, and so on. The sight of Bhavlingi saints is also rare. Experienced, right faith, knowledgeable, righteous persons are likewise seldom seen in this era. The small number of experienced and knowledgeable individuals itself establishes that the era is of Sarpadi.
Next.
Still, whatever little development is visible, we may understand this situation of development mixed with decline in the following manner. Just as the flow of the Ganga river, originating from the Himalayas, naturally moves only downwards, yet its waves rising here and there appear to leap upwards. Those who look only at those rising waves see the water as moving upwards, whereas those who observe the entire flow of the water clearly perceive its downward movement. In the same way, the flow of the Avsarpani era of the 10 Kota Koti Sagars naturally moves only towards decline. Yet those who look only at the momentary inventions that appear due to the transformations of Podgalic energies see development. Those, however, who observe the entire flow of the Avsarpani era clearly perceive its downward movement. Just as the rise, height, and duration of the waves arising in the flow of Ganga are both very slight, in the same way, whatever development occurs in the Avsarpani era is partial, and the period of that development is also very brief. In this way, in the present Avsarpani era, the condition of development should be understood as being like that of a wave rising in a river.
Stop.
It is not difficult to believe.
Stop. So I think that this is a this is another question, or it's still same?
No, sir, it's another question. The second.
Okay. So we finish over here, and rest of the questions you can catch up on as a homework. Okay. This is I'm leaving for you to read 2-3 questions are there, so that our time is getting over. But one thing I would like to highlight here, that this question that we read now is one of the questions that has been asked in your LCPA. So the arguments presented here is okay, but you can have your own version also. Okay, so you can write it in your own language, in your own way, whatever you feel like. You can have a different view from what it is mentioned here. But whatever is mentioned here, like all these things that have come to us is through Jinwani, and that is coming from the sermons of the Tirthankar. So there could not be any doubt about this. But having said that, the arguments given by the scientist and other modernist, they may vary. They may vary in opinion, but this is the truth that we have to accept. And the best part is that we are in now such a phase that where we see a collective progress in terms of sharing of knowledge. We are getting knowledge easily from the internet, from the Google, Chat GPT. Translating such a book would take, say, many years. I know somebody who translated the first part of Pravachan Sar. It took them 9 years to do that. And now with Chat GPT, you can do it in few days. So a lot of things have happened in terms of technology. But having said that, the general tendency of the falling time, decrease of everything that we are observing is very much there. So we have to be very alert and utilize our time in the best possible manner to manifest these 3 gems: the right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct, and ultimately get liberated. This world will move on like this. We have been there since time immemorial. There is no beginning, but we have got an opportunity to end this cycle of birth and death. And that is precisely what we should do in terms of the results that we are expecting by reading the scriptures. Okay, everywhere we have only 2 things to grasp: Gyan and Vairagya, knowledge and detachment. Okay, so under knowledge, we have right belief and right knowledge coming up, and under Vairagya, that is right conduct. Okay, so if we are understanding something, like, see, it's a hot water, right? Now, it is a hot water, so you won't put your hand into it. But somebody who doesn't know, he will definitely put his hand in that water. So your knowledge should be directed towards making your life easy, simple, and happier. Okay, that should be the only purpose of gaining knowledge. No other purpose. No fame, no power, no money, nothing. We don't want nothing. We want to experience happiness all the time, and our all knowledge is directed towards that one ultimate goal. Okay, so with that note, we end this class. For the next 2 Saturdays, there will not be any classes, and I've already released the LCPA that you start working on. We have already 1 assignments pending. I think it is CC2, right? CC2. I think 29th is the last date, maybe. So you have to complete that first, and then these 2 assignments. The Gandhar Mulyankans, Himal is going to share today. Okay, so that is from Aap Kuch Bhi Kaho, the storybook, So that storybook is also there. So I have allotted, out of 11 stories, I have allotted 9 stories to each of you. Okay, and 2 topics from Krambad Paryay. Okay, so that makes 11 topics for 11 students. And you have to summarize those stories in 5 to 10 minutes.
Sir, I can't hear you. Hi, can anyone hear, sir?
Oh, no. We can't hear.
No, we cannot hear him because
We can read the prayer.
Yeah. यह अनंत उपकार है उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है। 9 times नमोकार मंत्र। बोलो दात्संगी जीवाणी माता की जय। जय जिनेन्द्र।
Jai Jinendra.
See you after
Thank
15
you.
days, okay? Yeah. Jai Ji.